if I'm not wrong. So it should take him a bit to reach out here. Where did you get that shirt, Durgaras? You didn't tell me where you got it.
So this is a YouTuber, a Minecraft YouTuber. He's widely known as the best Minecraft player in the world. His name is Dream. His videos have between 1 million and 80 million views, I think, per pop. It's just, he also, yeah. So he's pretty much, I think, the biggest Minecraft YouTuber in the world, and I just love his videos, and how fun they all seem to be having together as friends. And so I bought a piece of his merch, and I just like the smiley face. Also, it was cute.
But you are the kind of guy who watch the videos, or you also
No,
play? You
I
also
definitely.
play.
Well, I was really into Minecraft and Creativerse for a long time, and I've made really big things. So, but I don't play much anymore. But I just still like. I can't do what he does, which is he's a Minecraft speedrunner. He held the world record a couple times. He was also involved in some controversy about, potential cheating. So yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of sort of when you get that popular, there's always going to be some kind of controversy, I guess. But yeah, I do play Minecraft. I was basically in bedridden for about a year and a half because I had this Achilles tendon problem where I couldn't really walk or move or do much of anything, and so I played it a lot at that time. So that's kind of where I got into watching his videos.
So I was going to ask Juanca, do you have a permission to edit this document, or only Livy or Nate have permission to edit this document?
Let me see.
So in the meantime, we can think on. I would like to. We have talked about a lot about the power dynamics in the past 2 weeks, I feel. So, but I felt it was a little bit too philosophical on one end. So I want to introduce the questions. Have you seen power dynamic change in your, daily life, in your professional life, like something like that, like a case that you have seen that you were like impacted, you were shocked, you were delighted, whatever it made you feel. But have you seen a real life power change and power dynamic change in your personal life or professional life? And if you feel like sharing it, how it happened, it will be more than welcome. And I will pass it on to, since you just started this conversation, I'll pass it on to you, Douglas.
Yeah, so it depends on what you mean by power. I think often power, violence, protective use of force are all sometimes confused with each other, and so I've experienced that both in my personal life here as a a partner, a person. It's also true that when you're building a building, it's a vastly collaborative process. So there's power dynamics that happen in terms of that, and trying to come up with a vernacular for that. What's kind of neat is what we've arrived at in terms of power is that all three of us had the artist, myself, and my wife had to all agree that this was a good thing. Otherwise, we'd tear it out and put something else in until we all did agree. So that was a thing that we had to negotiate over a long stretch of time. So that was a almost constant process of reevaluating, a power dynamic and specific to whatever was going on at that time. So that was a very co-creative kind of process, and the nature of power, because she owns everything, and so it's really interesting that that can happen. So yeah, so I guess that's my example.
To pass it on to someone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll pass it on to Mert.
What power dynamics have you seen in your professional? So I'm a student, so I've been dealing with power dynamics a lot in my personal life. And do I seen a change in the power dynamics that I having? Oh, actually, I am because I'm originally from Turkey and living in southern Turkey, where it's kind of a small city. So, like your relationship with teacher, etc., is kind of much hierarchical and having more power dynamics compared to Canadian case. I'm now in Canada, so I can say the change in power dynamics is actually very much related to cultural build as well as the structural situation. So, just last words, like, of course, structures are conditioning some power dynamics and changing it, but also agents and agents and culture is also conditioning it as well. I can say. So I wanted to pass it to Zeptimus.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like depending on the culture, but I feel like these power dynamics, exist will exist like forever. Like when you just born, like your parents have power over you, even if they don't want to. But that's how natures work, right? And then, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's important is like give the tools to everyone to empower themselves. But even people with the tools, like not everyone will use the tools the same way. So it also depends on the personal, I would say, skills and willingness to accumulate power. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to share. I'll pass it to Juan.
Yeah, I think I have observed several power dynamic changes in my life. I think what Semti mentioned is true. Like the first power dynamic we have is with our parents, and somehow when we are also adolescent, we challenge that power dynamic, and sometimes we question like the relationship we have with our parents and how much do we do to please them, or in what they want, or how much do we become just ourselves, even um, if there are some things that they disagree with our internal choosings. And also I think like the power dynamic with the state, I don't know, I before I thought that the state was like a fixed idea, but now I think like I am questioning a lot the power and the legitimacy of the state. So that also like changes somehow the power dynamic that I had before towards what I thought and what I felt towards the states. And yeah, I also think that if we are alive, we can change things. That the only moment where we cannot change things is when we're dead. So I believe in the change of people and in the change of yeah, situations.
Thank you, Juanca. In my case, the power dynamics that I saw first changed was my family power dynamics. Where my grandfather was like such an institution, and then he was relieved from that kind of position in the family, and I saw how then when this power dynamic changed, the entire family had to adapt again to another way of communicating, to another way of behaving, to organizing themselves, and it was quite an interesting thing to watch, because I feel that it was my first glimpse of understanding that this was a possibility, that power dynamics could change, but it will have a domino effect on other things if you didn't pay enough attention and if you let them go on an unconscious level. Anyways, so we can start. Besides the breaking the ice question, with the usual one of the temperature check in the community. It could be a check-in personal or a check-in from your side or from the community side. We are short today, so we will probably end early since everyone is consuming Denver. So how do you feel about the temperature check this week, Mert?
Thank you. For this week's temperature check, it's pretty busy week, but it's also good, good kind of busy. So for the Omega working group, today I will present our research groundwork for the next week's for the future funding proposal of us that we try to finish for quite of a time. Hopefully we will finish very soon. So that's my temperature check. And I'm super hyped up. I'm very happy being here in terms of emotional aspect. I wanted to pass it to Durgadas.
Yeah, I just wanted to start my temperature check just by reflecting how interesting it is that when we're talking about power, almost nobody mentioned how autonomy and agency are the basis of power. Everyone almost universally refer to power over as the power dynamic, and so I just like to point that out as a psychological thing that we all have. My temperature check is I'm just personally struggling quite a bit today. Just having a difficult time with my my living situation, so it's been tough. I'm a little bit debilitated from that. So that's in terms of community, I am actually pretty delighted in the way that folks are responding to the sort of, I guess, power dynamics question, but I guess it's I didn't really observe it so much as a power dynamics thing as how reflexively we give up our agency and autonomy, which is the root of all power, to other people, on the basis of different social constructs. And I'm trying to encourage us to not do that. And this check-in that everyone just did is a kind of reflection of that. That's what I'm kind of pointing out. So rather than to, think that somebody should be free to, assert their power over me, rather it's a matter of how is it that I've given up my agency and autonomy to those people who seek to assert that. And it's a relevant question in my personal life. It's a relevant question in my life here in the TEC and elsewhere. So thank you. I'll pass it to Guyan.
Welcome, Guyan. This is a Steward's call. We usually have a bigger Steward's call, but a lot of the stewards are on December during this week. So we are doing a smaller session today. And basically, the stewards, it's a coordination point for the stewards of the working group. And their agenda is on the screen. We would like to share the temperature check on the community, which is the starting question that we had. Or any other question that you may have, you can also share with us.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. I was trying to get into the token engineering introduction, but that thread's not getting picked up, so I figured I'd hop over here. And I got to say, just as an overall thing, I just love the way I'm hearing everyone articulate the vision and paradigm and ethos of this community. It's really inspiring to me, and really, to me, captures a lot of the heart of what an emergent and transparent organization can be. So yeah, thank you all for being the best representation of that I've seen so far. albeit at a superficial level so far. As for power dynamics, seeing in personal and professional life, I mean, what really comes to mind for me right now is seeing that in DAOs. And I think it's interesting, the sort of like not really articulated, not totally transparent power structure that's oftentimes in place. And people come in and there's this idea and this feeling of like, it's totally egalitarian and everyone's equal. Come share whatever it is that you can. And then when people are told, actually, we're not looking for that and we don't really want that. And, you know, all of the different things that are not really explicit in what's actually being looked for, then people start to realize like, oh, there's actually a core that may or may not be visible, that I'm not actually as invited in, or it's not as open-ended as I once thought it was. So yeah, that's part of what I'm seeing.
Can I ask you, Guy, why couldn't you enter to the Zoom link to the T Academy introduction?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I just got let in, it looks like just now, like literally seconds before you asked me that question. I think it was just the moderator was
Yes.
probably busy doing their thing, and so it took a while to get around to it.
No worries.
So I guess I'll
enjoy there.
I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will. I appreciate it, guys, and thank you. This is definitely a community and vibe that I look forward to diving deeper into.
Good. Enjoy and get back whenever you want.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Yep.
Septimus, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. Like as I said before, the Dune dashboard is frozen and it's looking great. I'm very excited. And yeah, we also did the payment for the 2 workers on the dashboard, which also feels great. And yeah, we also, you know, after, you know, I was telling them like, oh, just give me your address and I make your payment. But then I was thinking, oh wait, but we need to be transparent with the community, right? Like, how they know, like, I'm not sending this money to, you know, Septimus various wallets. And then I just tell them to ask for the payment on the forum thread, on the transparency proposal. And then I just put the Block Scout payout there. So yeah, anyone in the community can check out. So yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, it's being fun. I'll pass it to Juan.
Yeah, I'm happy that we have a lot of people participating in Denver. I think it's good for the visibility of the organization, but I also think it's good because that allows us to have like a more calm rhythm in these weeks. And I felt that we were in a very like frenetic rhythm last weeks. So like stop to catch a deep breath is good. And I have felt it this week that things have been very relaxed. And yeah, I am also excited about that the Communitas proposal may pass in one day. And I think that once that proposal passes, maybe the proposal for Gravity will pass too. There's always a challenge. That's always a challenge to have like the best management of funds that we can, because I feel that the funds that we'll receive from the TC are like sacred funds, and I want to be super transparent and super efficient with that management to execute and grow Gravity as a tool that can help other communities and help token engineering. But yeah, it's a challenge and it's not easy, and it's a task of every day and a lot of coordination. But yeah, I think this is very exciting. It's a challenge, but it's exciting, and also that we are having some kind of, I feel, some kind of adolescence, because the support from Common Stack will no longer be received economically by some stewards. So right now it's like, okay, we are really becoming autonomous, and we all have to like grow and shape and find our way to continue contributing to this organization, and at the same time being valued by the things you bring to the table. I think Edu, you're the last one.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yes, I'm the last one. Temperature check. I have, and I think this is the first time I will say this out loud, and there is this feeling of how do we make contributors of the working group reliable, and this is something that for me has been quite tricky to find it out. And my temperature check is related to that because I feel that we in Communitas we do have our regular assistance of the meetings, but then to translate that into contributions and translate that into commitment to the contributions has become quite a trick. So I don't know. I felt a little bit conflicted sometimes with this of how we can improve this, and this is something we will probably talk to with Tam. On how to have guides who are constant on checking the channels. How do you provide on point one-on-one support, and because we still need to do some outreach and all this stuff, so I'm a little bit concerned about that, on how we can be like Juanca said, how we can be efficient with the budget that we have been given, and how we can be it could be a good use for the community. So we are just not just paying people because of the sake of spending money. So that's a little bit of my temperature check on my end. And as I follow the usual script, there is an orientation call every Wednesday. I have never asked you, Drugaras or Juanca, if you have any feedback, something that you think we should change on the orientation call, Drugaras, for example.
Well, I do think a look into some of the tools that I posted. I think it was yesterday, in terms of I mean, there these. Oh, sorry, you're not seeing me. I posted some things to the liberatingstructures.com, and then there are a bunch of different things that could be helpful in Steward's calls, like the agreement and certainty matrix sounds like a great thing. Sort challenges into simple, complicated, complex, and chaotic domains so that you know how to deal with that. That goes back to Cynefin that I've mentioned before. Or it could be that, simple ethnography to observe and record actual behaviors of users in the field. I mean, integrated autonomy, critical uncertainties, all these different, there's 30 plus strategies in here to, help with different, because there's always a stimulus, and then how is it that we're going to respond, right? How is it that we can, inside of meetings, which is what this is focused on, change things in such a way that
sorry to interrupt you, guys. The question was specifically, do you have any feedback for the orientation call?
For the orientation call? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I was thinking it was the stewards. I would like to introduce people to the newcomer's journey as soon as possible, that graphic. And just kind of reinforce that we have an overall vision for how you're supposed to work in here, and that, and then I'd also like to make sure that the people who are working with the orientation are developing materials that fit inside of those 5 different narratives, and the two narratives that arise from that, up to the point where you're participating, and from participation and beyond. So that might help to orient people, in terms of what's going on, so that they understand that we have a coherent narrative behind what we're doing. And introducing that to them as soon as possible, I think, would be the best.
when you mean when you say introduce people to this 5 different narrative, do you mean the graphic that you shared the other day with the 5 points
Yeah,
on the road?
yeah.
And how will you introduce people to these 5 things?
Sorry, I'm being asked a question by my boss at work and simultaneously asked to give you this thing at the same time. So, yeah, I would just share your screen and be like, hey, here's the newcomer's journey that we've, identified, and, and then just to be consistent and persistent in reinforcing that through line in terms of how we create content for comms and how we create content for orientation. If we're going to be, just randomly making documents, what narrative is this fitting into? Is this fitting into the narrative to get people to participate, or is it fitting into the narrative of people who want to deepen their participation, right? So, yeah, so just, in terms of the orientation call, I feel like we should begin with that, and then not only should we begin with that, but we should reinforce that through the whole process. Also, I think I would suggest that you guys work with HubSpot to develop orientation content that can be automated. So when a person signs up for the newsletter for the first time, they would get day 1, day 2, or day 3, day 5, day 7, 2 weeks, 1 month, so that people can get oriented and figure out where they are. So HubSpot is really good for that stuff. So you could encourage people on the orientation call to join the newsletter and to, maybe do the newcomer thing.
Yes,
Lucas, where is the newcomer infographic? Where can I see it?
I actually don't think it's. I actually don't think it's complete.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that I'm just looking for it now.
Yeah. Once it's done, we can use it. But yeah, share it when it's done. And I had other question. You said you shared some like cards from the liberating structures thing.
Yeah. So if you go to liberating structures, I think I put that in. Pretty sure that I put this in the. Anyway, I'll share it in the stewards section too. I think I've done it before in the stewards chat, but I'll do it again now.
Yeah, no, I see a page, and I've read a page. You also sent me one, but I was interested if there was an additional content.
Yeah, there's a PDF and all this stuff too. So you don't actually have to get the cards that I bought, but I know I bought the cards anyway. But there's PDFs, there's other things, So
okay.
Yeah.
I do think there is a conversation to retake and improve, not to improve, but just to finish the newcomer journey that you mentioned. I think it's I think it's a very powerful tool to have the narrative so simple, explained to people who just joined the community, and to sort of take them through that. So I don't know if you want to propose a workshop or with us a laser, or with me or with anyone else who can. I mean, we talked about this in the community that's call the other day. This is something that needs to be taken by, and I don't know if you sync with Gideon that he was also trying to focus on this. Okay, so I feel like they should be. We can sync on how we can translate this journey into the graphic and just make it accessible. And I don't think we will build a definitive narrative, but at least to build something to be followed.
Edu, yeah, and to complement on that, I also think that there should be like a technical component in some of the orientation calls, because we are like assuming that people already know like what is XDAI. We say like, hey, yeah, you need to buy XDAI and then wrap it, and all those kind of things may be easy for us, but it's always like for the first time people is seeing it, or for web people who is not native to Web3, like, yeah, it's good also always to ask like, what is the starting point, or what is the management of Web3 systems to people in orientation, so that maybe we can also have like a more like selected group of people who needs like technical onboarding, and maybe we can have like a call just for technical orientation, and like, what's a garden, and like yeah, how do you set up your MetaMask, and all those things that we assume, but like there's always people who is just getting their first interaction with this space towards with us.
Well, see, and for me,
Yeah.
that's part of the thing that you do in the awareness and consideration, portions of our newcomer journey, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, and there is also the this is the reasoning why I always tell the stewards to join the orientation call, because my domain is not necessarily a technical domain, and Griff has joined the past 2 or 3 orientation calls, and he has explained and answered all the questions regarding technical aspects of the bonding curve and so on. So I do feel this is something that is not only about having a technical call, but to also have people who are in the know regarding these topics to be present. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, So it's a mix. For me, it's a mix of both stuff. Having a separate call of onboarding, I think it's a great idea. I think it would be highly appreciated, and this falls into the category of a little bit into the Params working group, kind of extinct work of field. I think we still need a space, more than an orientation call. We still need a space that is focused on education for the basics, for just as a bridge for everyone. And I think that education call, rather than a technical call, call it an educational call, it could be really helpful. And we can, be very specific about what we will talk about, and cover up these patches and holes that we have on our onboarding. Because it happens, like I receive weekly messages about how do I set up my MetaMask, how do I change, or how do I buy XI, all this stuff that seems quite simple, as you mentioned, Honka, but it's not necessarily that simple for someone.
well, and
yes,
what we sort of hope to do is to create the convert page into sort of a standalone process, but I think there's been some challenges in making it so that everyone knows that, oh, it's not just that you go to the convert page to do the conversions, but also you go there because the instructions and all the links and everything else are there. So I think we're still working on completing that aspect of it. So once that's done, we'll be able to just say, go to the convert page, all the information's there. Do you know what I mean? So
in progress. So I guess we will need to still guide people until we get everything on the converter page, I guess.
No, I mean just in terms of like how to wrap and get XDAI and do all that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be the most helpful thing. But in the meantime, we'll still need to guide people in order to do this kind of stuff. Then I had a question, Septi. You mentioned, because you asked on the Stewards chat that there was a problem with the dashboard or with the gardens. I don't remember. How did you solve it?
Oh no, actually there is a problem with the multisig from Gnosis. Like I was trying to ungrab the graphed XDAI just to send it to the people, to the workers, and I mean the solution I get is like, okay, I send from my wallet some graphed XDAI to the people, and then they just can ungrab it. Like I send them the graphed XDAI, and then they just ungrab. But yeah, I mean the apps are not working in Gnosis.
Oh, so it's a Gnosis stuff. It's not us.
Yeah, it's Gnosis. Yeah.
was.
I was just asking for if someone was having same issues and if someone solved it. I don't know, changing some parameters on the settings. Probably. I have no idea. That's why I ask.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty much. Welcome, Manu. How are you doing? Would you like to do the temperature check on the community since you entered?
I guess there's no mercury in my thermometer today. I don't know what to temperature check about. I've just been, I guess, working on my issues, my GitHub issues, and I'm writing a Medium article. Personal issues too, but GitHub issues is relevant to this conversation. But yeah, I'm just here to see what the stewards are stewarding about and see if I can help on something. I closed a couple issues earlier, so I might have some bandwidth for that. I'm just here to see how I can help. Thanks.
All right. Does anyone have something that would like to discuss since we are here? And there's not much else to cover on the agenda today. I will pass it on to whoever unmute in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Sorry, Mama, this was a very quick steward sync today. I suggest that anyone who has anything else to comment on or left unspoken, you can add it to the agenda or share it on the agenda channel, and do that as we can sync on the newcomer journey quite soon enough with Gideon to see what will be the next steps following that. And yeah, I will take your feedback on the retention call and try to improve it in that way. And Juanca, if you would like to discuss how we can do a technical call and find a time spot on the calendar that can fit that technical or educational call, is more than welcome. We have TDC Lounge this Friday, so you're welcome to join and hang out. So that's pretty much all. Does anyone else want to say something before we end the call early today?
Yeah, I just have for tomorrow. Is the community call going to be regular, or are we going to have some change?
I just want to say, Durga sweatshirt is awesome. That's it.
I keep hearing that. Thank you.
Maybe let's
ask
Juanca. The people that there, if they want to have like a normal call, or if what are their intentions with that?
All right, I'm asking right now the question on the store chat. So Septi, you mute yourself. You want to say something?
No, I mean, I was just going to say like things I do, but then a new topic raised.
All right. So I'm gonna ask this question on the store chat, and I look forward. I mean, for me, it's a normal call tomorrow. Nothing has changed for me. I guess there will be less people, of course, but otherwise, I think it would be just a regular community call.
I put a link to my hoodie in the stewards chat.
In a couple of weeks, everyone will be wearing that.
All right.
Thank you,
everyone.